My name is Ivy. My barbecue name is the Bbqbabe. I started as the kitchen rebel initially, being rebellious in the kitchen by thinking out of the box from what we're used to doing normally, especially in regards to barbecue. Then I realized the Bbqbabe is a little more search friendly and it also fits me, being that I'm somewhere between millennial and Gen Z, so it's more of a fun and modern name as opposed to just the brand name for the kitchen itself. So it's the Kitchen Rebel by the Bbqbabe, but when it comes to barbecue, then I'm the Bbqbabe. That's my AKA. My maternal roots are very kitchen oriented, but I was so not into the usual cooks that women do. When kids go to sit with the aunties to get chapos, I used to go sit with my uncles who go at the back of the of the homestead, because then you'd get those very fine. They call them nyamashia deji in Kikuyu. In French, what it means is the butcherman's cuts. So it used to be a bit more enjoying to see that happen, to see the slaughtering process, the cleaning process, and that's how I grew into it. So even if I started heavily on regular cooking, I still tended to lean a lot towards barbecue and meat products. So that's how it became very easy to just walk into barbecue entirely and fully. Yeah.
I get your
Those two small cuts. We used to really, and they're pan fried and or thrown in the fire, marakaraka. While guys are eating chapo and tea, I'm busy with my uncles having some good cuts. So, plus my grandmother, it's so funny that in traditional Kikuyu homesteads, the butchering and everything meat was very manly. But where I grew up, there was no gender roles. And the funny thing is the meat would be cooked and then it would all be brought to my grandma. She's the one who would cut and share to everybody around the table. So I never grew up knowing that there's a handicap that as a woman you can't barbecue. So that also helped. Yeah. I came to know when now you start interacting with people after now you leave home and you realize, like, somebody tells you, and I'm like, what do you mean? Us guys, everybody ate everything. My father-in-law is very, very traditional. So he has those nyama za wanawake, sijui the kidneys and that. That is the first time I've come to experience that. That was when I'm over 30. Before that, I just knew whatever you find on the table is what you eat. Whatever my grandmother passes to you to eat is what you eat. Yeah, so that's a new thing I've learned coming with age. So barbecue is basically nyama choma, mbuzi choma, for lack of a better word. And if you go to the extreme is when now people put in kidogo beef. Yeah. So for the barbecue pitmasters is the realization that we are a community of people who are have a passion for meat, not just buying a cut of meat and slapping it on a grill. There is so much that goes into a proper barbecue. There is prep that takes close to 3 days. For instance, pork, if I cook pork that has been marinated today and one that I took care of 3 days ago, there's a very entire difference in the intensity of taste. So barbecue has a lot of passion and effort and time and skill put into it, because the same way you'll deal with pork is not the same way you'll deal with chicken, is not the same way you'll deal with mbuzi. In the traditional African Kenyan setting is you just pack a salt, put it on the grill. The maximum you'll go is some color like paprika, but barbecue you have to understand what spice goes with what meat, what wood goes with what meat, what sides, what sauces. So barbecue in itself is a lot more work, for lack of a better word. Yeah, you have to think through everything. In fact, if there's something else that comes with barbecues, you have to now have your timings. Somebody who cooks brisket will have to spritz it and wrap it at a different time from me who cooks a pork shoulder. Somebody who cooks chicken will probably spend 2 hours. Somebody who has brisket there's a time that's called the stall, where now he knows this is the time now I have to amp my fire because the meat is now sweating and making it more colder inside. The heat needs to be more so that the meat cooks faster or cooks better. And you see, in real sense, if I told somebody else to cook a brisket, they wouldn't know. How comes now the meat was cooking well, I've gone to check the temperature is now lower than when I checked it last. Now that's what we call the stall. For a barbecue pit master, they will know when the temperatures go down, now I'm at the stall, I need to now ongeza my fire. And for regular nyama choma, you just know, flip, foil, go sit, wait and enjoy. So barbecue needs a lot of knowledge, a lot of time, it's something I usually say it's passion. If you're not willing to sleep over looking after nyama, then you really can't do it. So you cannot call yourself a pit master. for me, I'd say a pitmaster is somebody who has both knowledge of fire and meat, because you can't have one and not have the other. In most cases, you have to know how to manage your fire, control your fire. You need to know how your meat reacts to the fire at a certain time of the cook. So for a pitmaster, you have to be very knowledgeable and very passionate about both. You cannot pick and choose what to deal with. And that, in essence, means from every single kind of grill. If I give you what we call a Santa Maria, it's just the open grill now, the ones we know, you'll know how to deal with it. If I give you an offset, which is what we put now, the firebox where the fire is, and then the smoke side where now the smoke box is, then you know how to deal with that. If I give you a UDS, which is the ugly drum smoker, then you'll also know how to deal with it. So for you to be considered as a pit master, you have to have at least basic knowledge. You can be very good at 2-3 equipment, but you have to have basic knowledge of how to control fire and meat in all the cooking vessels. Nope. My people are my guinea pigs.
Notice, right?
For even, you see, the people who are used to wakipika lazima wakate waonje. I don't. I know mentally how much a kg of meat needs in salt and spices, so I'll do that. I'll adjust if it's a bigger quantity. So I've never gotten to a point where I'm actually onjaing on the road. I even forget to eat. I remember even going to the washroom. I literally go to the washroom Sunday when I'm leaving my house. I'll go to the washroom when I check in at like 9. So for the barbecue pitmasters, it is made up of basically pitmasters. All the co-founders are pitmasters themselves. So what happened is we realized we do not have a community that appreciates the kind of effort and work that is put into it. In instances where those who now provide services for barbecue, if they go out to pitch their product, somebody wants to charge them the same as the guy who comes, the regular nyama choma guy. But see, this is somebody who's been spending 4-5 days trying to now come up with the meat, then a whole day cooking for you, or even overnight to a whole day. So that's close to a whole week of prep and work. So the quantity or quantifying that work will not be the same. So we started a small community. We call ourselves the smokers. So if somebody sees that, they think it's about cigarettes and the 420s, but no, it was about meat. So it started as a small group of smokers. We started meeting like we are meeting today, or we meet regularly just to have banter, share tips and all that. Then we realized we can actually now educate the public about what being a pitmaster is, and the fact that we can marry the Texas US kind of barbecue to the Kenyan aspect of barbecue. So for the pitmaster, it gives you a space to grow yourself, learn new skills from people who've been there before. Because for instance, I am, like you said, a zillennial, and then there's now Gen X is in here. So you can see there's so much intermarriage of skills, knowledge, and all that coming together. So for the general public, thing is, like I said, I myself cook, I barely eat. So you can imagine a situation where we are 20 of us and we've all brought nyama and nobody can eat the nyama we've cooked. So that's how now the public comes into play, because you now need people to now experience what we're there to give. You must have to be able to cook for more people. That way now there's way more people who can now come and appreciate the barbecue at the cookout. Whoa. So I made my first smoker, the offset, the one that you put the firebox and the smoke box very differently, when I used to live in an apartment, 5th floor. Lucky for us, our neighbor was one of those people who show up at home once every 4 months. So I'm pretty sure his home used to smell like like our grandmother's jukos because of the smoke. But I can tell you, it takes a lot of learning. My first experience with fire and smoke was, I had no idea there's something called dirty smoke, where your wood has not combusted properly or it wasn't dried properly. So you have a lot of billowing smoke. And then now you think it's cooking your food because there's a nice black back, but in essence, it's just giving your food a very rancid smoke taste. I don't know how else I can explain a rancid smoke taste, but there's dirty smoke and there's clean smoke. Dirty smoke is what, when you start lighting a fire, comes out, that very white and cloudy smoke. So you have to wait for it to clear and it's almost see-through, then that is clean smoke for you to cook. So it took a few cooks, anybody who experienced my barbecue then, but again, it was new barbecue, so for them it seemed like something nice, but for me, in the back of my head, I used to feel like there's something that's not right just yet, until I watched Franklin Barbecue's masterclass on YouTube, and then now you learn now the things about dirty smoke, how to control your fire, when is the best time to actually now put meat in your smoke after now the smoke has cleared up a little bit. Yeah. Yeah? Zilikuliwa. You know, it's that thing where now you second guess yourself, you're like, did I really do well? Because there's that smell. How do I put it? Good smoke, you shouldn't smell it in your hands. That's the easiest way I can explain dirty smoke. So dirty smoke is the moment I cook nikitoka hapo, if I sniff myself, I smell like kuni. You know the way when you go to your shosho's heart, it smells. Now that is what dirty smoke smells like. Clean smoke, you shouldn't smell that smoke. Like, it's very sticky, for lack of a better word. It just feels sticky in your nasals, in your hands. You can't just get rid of it.